What is going on, everybody? Back at it with another video. In today's video, I wanted to go over some personal plans. So as you may have guessed, I have been looking at other cars. It's not cheating, but I have been looking at photos of other vehicles. Now, this is not a surprise to some of you who've been watching my channel, but I have been looking at other cars in hopes of maybe in the next 6 months to a year, upgrading or changing my vehicle. It's more of a long-term goal, but overall I think it's going to happen. So as you may have known, I've owned this car for about 4.5 to 5 years, which has given me a lot of impression on this vehicle. And overall, as you probably know, I love it. I think it's accomplished everything I've needed in a car and some. So the reason I might be switching this car is not because I hate it and not because it's bad by any means, but simply because I want to try something different and drive something new. Or used, I don't really care. So there are two main reasons why I am switching this car. The first one being that since I am a car enthusiast, I think it's important to have a wide array of knowledge on different vehicles. And one of the best ways to do that is just to simply own a bunch of different cars. Now, unfortunately, I can't go and buy 12 different cars and own them at the same time, but I think that switching off consistently is something that's important for you to become a better car enthusiast and understand more about vehicles. Currently, I've only owned a Honda CR-V, it was pretty awesome, and this Mercedes C-Class. So I think that in order for me to bring better content to you guys that are watching is for me to try something different and try something new and something that will maybe bring a different take on something that's already been seen before. Going after the car enthusiast aspect, I want to try a car that's more unique and different. Now, the C-Class is a magnificent car, and I know this because in my city you can find at least 20,000 different Mercedes C-Classes. And that's the issue, is that since it's a great car, there's so many of them out there. You're not unique by any means in driving this car. It's beautiful, it's fantastic, it's great, but it's not unique. It's not necessarily a head turner because you see them on every single corner. Everywhere your head turns, you're gonna see a C-Class. So going off car enthusiasm, it's the unique aspect of why I wanna change this car. The second primary reason why I wanna change this car is because of repair costs. Now, if you've watched my other videos, you've seen how much I've paid in repair costs for this vehicle. And overall, it hasn't been very bad. However, going forward, I don't know exactly what those costs are gonna be. I know I have some pretty big repairs coming. First off, brakes. That might cost me a pretty penny. Spark plugs, which I probably could replace myself, although knowing German cars, they're probably a pain in the ass, as well as other maintenance and wear and tear like transmission oil, etc., etc. So if you add up the costs that may be incurred over the next few years, I could be looking to pay a lot of money. Money that I could use as a down payment for a new car. So the two main reasons why I'm changing this vehicle, the first being I want something more unique and different so that I can expand my knowledge and become a better car enthusiast. And number two, because I'm worried about possible future reliability issues. Not that I've had any huge ones so far, but more of a precaution. So now that I've covered why I'm considering selling my car, let's consider the options. So if you've seen my previous videos, you've noticed that I am quite fond of the Dodge Challenger. I think it's awesome. I don't know why I'm so enthusiastic about the car. It's kind of a complete opposite from a Mercedes, although it used to be owned by Mercedes, so not really. But I think the reason is I've always been interested in muscle cars ever since I was a little kid. And to be honest, I think the Dodge Challenger is one of the most true-to-heart muscle cars that still exist on the road today. The Camaro and the Mustang are great, but they're more sports cars than there are muscle cars. So with the Challenger being a more true-to-heart muscle car, in my opinion, for all the people that are gonna shit talk me in the comments, that is why I'm considering the Dodge Challenger. However, I have some bad news. Given the state that I live in, where it snows probably about 10 months out of the year, I am required to own an all-wheel drive vehicle. I know that you can put snow tires on a Dodge Challenger, but that is not going to conquer the amount of snow that I get up my driveway. At least 3 feet overnight. It's ridiculous, especially since I live up in the mountains. So I am required to own an all-wheel drive car. And as I've covered in other videos, the only all-wheel drive Dodge Challenger is the Dodge Challenger SXT or the Dodge Challenger GT, but it's a V6 all-wheel drive, which is great if you're into V6s. But the reason I enjoy the Dodge Challenger is because I love the sound and the feel of the V8, and they simply do not have an all-wheel drive V8. I've made countless of videos in the past how I think they will not make that. And so if you're curious, please check them out. But that leaves me with almost zero options. And unfortunately, I am not in the certain situation where I can have two vehicles, one being an all-wheel drive, the other being a rear-wheel drive. One reason why I can't do that is because I don't have space in my house. And the second reason is because I don't think that you would need a secondary car. I believe that most of the time one car will check mark most of the boxes that you have on your list. Not all of them, but most of them. And the cars that I am considering, which I will talk about in a minute, check mark most of the things on my list. So for that reason, I will unfortunately not be getting a Dodge Challenger or a Camaro or a Mustang. I know it's very disappointing, but it's the truth. So what car am I considering? Well, I want something with more power than my current car. The V6 is great, but I'm looking for something with better 0 to 60 and something that will launch me into my back seat. At the same time, I'm not looking to pay much more than my vehicle was when it was new, which is around $45,000. So I'm not looking for an M4, I'm not looking at like an RS4, but something more reasonable in price. Another thing that I require is 2 doors. I would love to have a coupe. That is part of the reason why I'm selling this car, is I want something more unique, something different. And I think coupes accomplish most of those things because they're very unique cars. Not everybody has a coupe, and those that do are usually head turners. So I want something that's all-wheel drive, I want something that's quicker, and I want a coupe. So what does that leave me with? Really not very many options. I'm stuck in the realm of a 435 or a 440, possibly an Audi A5, a Mercedes C-Class coupe, but I wanted to let you know that those are not going to be the cars that I'm getting. Okay, Armand, what the hell are you getting then if you're not getting any of those cars? I'm about to tell you. What I've been highly considering, and it's a car that checks off most of the things on my list in regards to all-wheel drive, power, and coupe-like styling, and that car is, drumroll please, the Infiniti Q60 3.0T Red Sport 400. It's a long name, but for a very interesting car. Now, the Q60 is pretty much the new generation of the G37 sedan and the G37 coupe. These cars were iconic back in the day, and they were kind of known as the BMW of Japan. Now, what's interesting about the Q60 is it was redesigned for 2017, and I think it's a beautiful car. What's interesting is they offer a 400 horsepower, 3.0 liter turbocharged engine, twin turbocharged, for the price of about a BMW 440i. Maybe even a little bit cheaper. So it packs a lot of value in a very affordable price. And at the same time, I think it's a very big head turner because it's something that you don't see every day on the street. It's new, it's different, it's redesigned entirely for 2017. And for that reason, I'm highly considering that as my next vehicle. Also, it comes in all-wheel drive, which is something I definitely need living in this state. So the Q60 offers all-wheel drive with 400 horsepower, and it's a 2-door coupe. Now, unfortunately, it's not a manual, which is something I would have really enjoyed in my next car. But you can't get everything you wish for. Unfortunately, between a manual and an all-wheel drive is higher on my list. So that is why most likely, not very soon, but in the next 6 months to a year, I will be looking at purchasing an Infiniti Q60 3.0T Red Sport 400. So I wanted to let you guys know what the plans are going forward, but I also wanted to hear what your feedback is. Now that you know some of my criteria, what are some of the cars you'd recommend? I like a car that is quick, all-wheel drive, and a coupe, and fairly reliable and has pretty good resale value. So what is your recommendation? Please comment down below with some suggestions of what you think would fit those criteria. Do you think the Infiniti Q60 is a good car? Would you like seeing more of it on this channel? And is there a better competitor that accomplished most of those goals and maybe even throw in a manual transmission? Thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know what you think below in the comments, and like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Also check out some of my other videos that will be popping up right here. Thanks guys, take care.